see their comments. It's weird because when I just would do it on Zoom or Facebook Live, you can see everybody, but now
Yeah.
you can only see people if they click the link and they connect because it's streaming. But
Yeah.
streaming is the future. I'm learning how to do it.
I'm glad I was able to log on.
Yeah, you know what? And Rowena told me, said, just send Denise one link. I'm like, how much? Oh, I know which one link, and made it much easier.
You only sent me 20.
I know. I said she's probably getting a little
I
overwhelmed.
have flashbacks of our old days.
Oh, me too. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm bombarding her with all these things. Oh, she's probably
No, I was laughing about it. It was no biggie, but I was cracking up. I'm like, oh my gosh, me and all these links.
that's so funny. All right, I see we have some people on. You can comment, and if you're joining us live, put joining live and tell me where you're joining us from, what city, what state, what the weather's like. And if you are watching the replay, just type replay. And also let me know what city, what state, where you're coming from. I would love to hear, love to know. We have today a true life live stream, meaning this is unscripted. We have no idea what we're going to talk about, except it's going to be health and fitness and life and the HP Access Hormone Alignment Solution. And we have a very special guest who I've known for about a decade. I'm super excited to have her on because we've kind of come full circle. And without any further ado, I will introduce Denise. Denise, can you tell us where you're from, what you do, who you are?
Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Denise, I am in the Bay Area. Like Tom said, we've known each other for a while. I came to Tom when he had an actual brick and mortar gym, and we've just had a relationship ever since. And I have been doing and working with him now for the last, what, 90 days, Tom?
Yeah, you did the kickstart and then you went right into the 90-day. Yeah.
Yeah, so but yeah, the Bay Area here, and can't say enough about just, it's funny we come full circle, right? We were together before COVID and now we're together after COVID. And this ended up being something that was a lifesaver because before COVID, I wasn't in the lovely menopause M word that is like a four-letter word to me. Then I was, and here we are, and now I get to share some benefits of my experience thus far with you guys.
What does your day look like so far today? Like, just walk us through it. You or let's start when you went to bed last night. Like, when's the last time you ate? What'd you eat? When you went to sleep? How long did you sleep? What does today look like?
So
What's a day
last
look like?
then you know I'm go 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 and all
Right.
kinds of things, right? So first thing I say is busy or not, this was something like even if I don't do 100%, I can do it if that makes sense. So last night 7:30 last meal, chicken, turkey, um chicken. I had some chicken, veggies, some turkey, but just kind of a hodgepodge. For me, it's just easy to hit these numbers by throwing everything in a bowl.
Damn.
I don't always do that perfect. I have had along this journey some carbs, but I know it's that second meal. But that's what I did. And then today, got up. I so far it's only noon. Let's see. I got up. I went and worked out with my trainer, Tevin, who Tom knows and loves.
Real quick, shout out to Tevin if you watch this. You probably have one of the best trainers on the planet. So
I
I
do.
know your workouts are dialed in. So
So
we
he,
knew the workouts were not the issue right
yeah,
away because
they
you
were
have
not.
a
No.
phenomenal trainer that any coach and trainer could learn from. Oh man, one of my favorite guys on the planet.
Yep. So I had my workout. I've had my black coffee. That was a big change for me. So for sure that was an adjustment. I was a cream and stevia in my coffee every morning person. I took a leap of faith and just trust in you and what you said and had to make that adjustment. And I've done it for over 90 days, which is a miracle in itself because I wanted to be resistant. Like, really, really? Then I went to an appointment and now I'm sitting here with you. I probably won't break fast because this isn't my longer fast day, but I probably will not break fast until about 4 today. And it's already planned out. We're having a barbecue. I have my daughter in law's mom here, but I got myself a nice lean steak, making a salad, and got veggies. So I already kind of know what I'm going to do for today.
I love it, and I love so many things about it. But I'm going to give you something that's going to help your journey even more. And before you have that steak, while you have that steak, having sauerkraut or kimchi, or at least a copious amount of onions and garlic, the probiotic, prebiotic, after any fasted length of time, the first thing you eat before your lean protein is a probiotic or prebiotic, you're absolutely going to instantly heal your gut microbiome. That's a trick that only us can do, and this window only occurs after a fasted period. So for sure on your longer fast, do it. But even an 18-hour fast, it does the trick. Way more than any pills you can take or anything else. Because if you chew the food and swallow it, it tells your brain something completely different than swallowing a pill. So just adding a probiotic is awesome. Another thing you did awesome, because people ask me about this.
Yeah.
You did
So
a
what about Greek yogurt? Like if you don't love those things, the plain Greek yogurt, is that an option?
kefir,
Okay.
which is very similar and
Yeah,
has
I know
way
what it
more
is.
probiotics and living bacteria. Because your gut microbiome, I'm gonna get a little bit nerdy and put my nerdy glasses for a sec because this is nerdy. Don't go to sleep, anyone. Your gut microbiome is actually communicating with your brain, your pituitary gland, your adrenals all the time, telling it burn fat or store fat. And if the gut microbiome is not functioning correctly, the right bacteria aren't in there, it's not sending the right messages. Inflammation occurs, that's noticeable. Bloating occurs, but what you can't notice is that it's not telling your brain the truth. So by replenishing the bacteria that gets diminished through antibiotics, through birth control, through bad toxic foods, you can rebuild it within 2 or 3 days of having that probiotic first. But something you do that you did today that I cannot speak highly enough of: strength training while you're fasted.
I
Not
never thought I was going to be able to do it. And I do all my workouts fasted now. And I work out with Tevin, strength train 4 days a week.
so 4 strength trainings work lots. My mouth cannot keep up with my brain. 4 strength training workouts per week with an amazing trainer that I know pushes you and doesn't let you slack, and also gives you challenging strength building workouts. But here's the thing: I'm gonna just keep it very real because I know you're that way, and I love that about you. You were resistant to the black coffee. You were resistant to even thinking about working out fasted. You was like, there's no way anyone can do that, because media has told us that our whole lives, and all things you get from mainstream nutrition doctors and even old school fitness people are going to tell you, you got to make sure you eat, you're going to burn muscle and build muscle. And I'm glad there was a level of trust that existed before, because it helped you break those beliefs sooner. And now your body probably taps into energy right away. There's not even an energy lull when you do the strength training workouts fasted.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely so mindset over being able to, right? So if I could share with anyone, probably say the belief system is different, right? Like, oh, you don't need some carbs or you don't need some peanut butter before your workout. So that was one, like the mindset. But then I see the results. So for sure, what kept me to like one, I trust you. I know you know the science behind stuff. So even though I don't understand even all of it still now, because I need to just the bullet point version, the cliff notes, because that's just my brain. I trust it, and then I'm seeing the results because I've tried everything prior to this, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Because I work out, I don't drink alcohol. I haven't drank alcohol in years, and I was still working out with Tevin, but I was gaining weight, and then the stress was holding on to it too because now I'm stressed out. Now I'm stressed out, and so, yeah, super excited to be back together because not only am I seeing the results, even in a faster time than I thought, because really we've only been doing this for 3 months and I've dropped 26 pounds. So that's pretty crazy. And when people are asking me what I'm doing, it's probably so I share with them, but it's making sure that you are in a mindset to be willing to try something completely different because it's not easy. There's days, there's times where I was like, this sucks. And not even, and then I changed that dialogue that, hey, it's learning. So it doesn't even mean that it sucks. It's just a different way of doing stuff. So I had to get through the uncomfortable. Does that make sense? Like, sit through the uncomfortable to get to the other side. Because if
Yeah.
it was easy, everyone would do it and know it, but it's not. And so I had to take that grit mentality that I already know I have and apply it to this. So that's what pushed me through, is just telling myself it's not supposed to be easy right now, but it will get easier. And so that's kind of how I even tell myself now, especially when we do like the 48-hour fast, because I've done a couple of those. And so when I was doing that, and the family's eating, plus I live with people that are eating food and doing whatever. So all of that just had to be a mindset. But now I'm in sales. So I just went to a customer appointment. I can fit in some of my clothes that I had before I felt all this crap coming on, but I feel confident. I didn't want to go to the family party, or I just now moved in a house that has a pool. I'm not going to walk around in the backyard in a muumuu and cover up. Like, that's just, I didn't want to feel like that. So I think it's what you said is mindset first, sitting in the uncomfortable, trusting what we don't know yet, and then you're going to start seeing the results. So then you just trust your own results. So I've showed you I've been pretty open. I've shared my starting point and the picture current. Like, when I see that myself, who would not want to give that, a go?
That is one of the things I love about you, is you're fearless. Like, you will, when you decide you're doing something and it's the right thing to do, you do it all the way in, and you're not scared to share how it looked before. You're not scared to share how it looks now. I want to speak on a few things you talked about that are really super important. Number one is, we have created, because your hypothalamus, your pituitary gland, your adrenal gland, and your gut microbiome, that's what regulates your hormones. Everything you're doing, from the fasted workouts to the amount of time you extend food, none of it's to lose weight. It's all to regulate your hormones again, to balance them back out. Because if you were overweight before menopause, before perimenopause, your HPA axis was already messed up, because that's why it's messed up. Everyone that's overweight, their hormones are not telling their body to go back to normal. And being overweight, unfortunately, programs the hormones to stay that way longer. Now, if menopause hits and you're already overweight, or even if you're not, you get overweight suddenly during menopause, the only way to correct it is to realign your hormones. And your thinking is your hypothalamus. The thoughts you're thinking about food matter immensely. So both of us have our experience with going after a dopamine rush, and food is the biggest dopamine hit ever. As soon as we think about eating, dopamine, it feels good. As soon as we have it in our hands and smell it, oh, dopamine. Sometimes if we smell other people eating or preparing it, or we see them, I think dopamine. And then if we feel stressed because we can't, cortisol. So we want dopamine. When people walk by the refrigerator, they think, I'm going to look because I'm a little bit hungry. No, they're not. They want dopamine because their mind isn't settled. And that's okay. But when we realize that we're not actually eating because we're authentically hungry, we're eating because we miss the dopamine hit, and we want a real quick one. And it's a habit that's formed over the years. That's what emotional eating's from, is wanting the dopamine. Insulin gets too high, cortisol gets too high. You want to fix it with some dopamine. What I've heard you say in much better terms was, you learned to override that dopamine urge and reaction. You've learned that food is not going to be, let's say, a drug, a soothing medication to make you feel better in that moment. And food instead is going to be something you look forward to and enjoy, but it's not going to be a stressor anymore. It's going to be part of your life that you can use food to align your hormones. And we're supposed to.
Yeah.
Now, you worked out with me when I was putting together the most intense fat burning workouts in the world. And I put a lot of time into the timing of each workout and how it worked and the exercises we did and the HIIT combined. And I had so much pride in the epoch everyone was leaving, the post-exercise oxygen consumption. And Tevin and I worked together on workouts to make them amazing. And then the macro meal plans, amazing. Oh man, Denise, like I took a couple years off where I did not really train anyone because I realized I was doing it wrong. I realized I'm not taking the hormones into account. And I kind of knew the whole time that that was the issue with why people were gaining the weight back and why some people could not even lose the weight at all. But then when I learned and kept learning, and it was like one of those things that I wanted to learn, so I learned it very quickly and was fortunate to be able to invest in learning from experts. But when I learned it and put it into practice, first on myself, then on a few guinea pigs, and then on everyone I work with, everything changed. And so you came back, and I remember.
Yeah.
I remember you actually said it was either text or message exactly. This menopause thing is kicking my ass.
Yep. And I probably had some other letters with it.
Because you were doing everything right. Talk to me about that period. How you were feeling? Like, how long did that period last before you reached out?
So I think so. What started for me is probably menopause started about 2 years ago, right around my wedding time. So I was in pretty good shape for the wedding because obviously you have a goal. We were getting married, and my dress was very fitted. But I also think it was only the beginning of it. So, like I said, I was pretty working out regularly, eating decent, 80-20 rule. And then about a year and 8 months ago, we bought a house. And so in that time, and I did do for a year hormone replacement, but I didn't see anything. And the doctor said that's really not something long term, like medication wise. So I stopped that. So everything was like eat well, work out, and got through the wedding. That was all great. We moved. And I noticed that one, the stress of a move, building, construct, everything I'm doing, but I just started putting on weight. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? And especially in my stomach area. So I felt it's not even just the weight, I felt bloated and tired. And that is not me because I'm hyper and I do 20 things always. But I wasn't feeling, and I felt like I was losing my mind a little bit too. So I was very snappy, extra bitchy. So I think like that combination was like, what the hell? And so realign the macros. Tevin did, we were doing everything you're supposed to do, that you think you're supposed to do. And maybe 2 pounds would go away. So then I get the efforts because if 2 pounds, well, screw it. I might as well just, I'm going to be fat or whatever. I started having a bad internal dialogue to myself like, this is what it's going to be. But then Denise came back and said, oh, hell no, bitch. That's not how it's going to be because I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. It's not that my husband or anybody, I just didn't feel good. I didn't feel right. And I'm an open book. So, anyone listening on here, I'm in recovery. And part of that is knowing like I've got to be honest with myself and not start building up resentments. And I was building up an internal resentment. And so that's a relapse waiting to happen. So a big thing for me was making sure my mental state stays and aligns with everything. So that's the whole package for me. I was just feeling crazy. Like I needed to go check into somewhere. So like you said, we reconnected and I had seen you posting some things because I didn't really know about it yet. And it was just that start. So I always do think things happen for a reason. There's a God shot somewhere. That's just how I think. Because that text took me to, well, you said, oh, I know exactly what's going on. And even first, you're going to think, oh, it's going to be another diet or something, right? Your mind is still going to think that. But I just was willing enough. I trust you. I think at my thinnest was when I was with you before, but that was before menopause. So we've worked together before in a different way. But this time I was like, this cannot be. And so, yeah, that's where I was at in my headspace. And so what I will say, it was very much a challenge in the beginning because my headspace wasn't where it needed to be anyways. But as soon as I talked to myself enough and it was like, hey, come on, just give it a try. And so rather than look at it big picture, take it a week at a time with you, whatever you said, like just do this week. So it wasn't that bad to see, oh, how late can you wait to eat? Like that. I think that's what you had me do at first.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Everyone.
how late can you wait to eat? And I'm thinking, I can't wait that, like, oh, I don't know, 1 o'clock. I thought that was pushing it. So I think that was how, or I can tell to people now what is helpful if you're looking to do it, because it will definitely work, is take it a week at a time instead of the big chunk, because it kind of looks overwhelming in a big chunk. Because I've also learned I can, depending on what function I'm doing, the hours can change, the fasting time could change. So it's not always like, oh, I'm going to a party, I can't eat. Oh, I'm doing this, I can't do this. Oh, I'm going on vacation. So I'm learning as I'm going how to prepare myself for each week, if that makes sense.
Oh, Denise, you said so much so well, and man, you should pitch this program because I think you do a much better job. I want to touch on a few things. Number one, it really resonated, whether you're in recovery or not, like having the value of being authentic with what's really going on up here and what you really are about is huge, and not holding on to resentments is huge. So that's like a core value for everyone. And yeah, I know that feeling of having to get real with what's aligned with who I really am and what I'm just doing to impress others or put on a good face. Or and then that other one, I guess this is just going to be the way it is. Oh my gosh, we all reach a phase in life, especially women going through menopause. I hear this a lot where they battle back and forth with, "Mom, maybe I'm just older now. Maybe it's the way it is. My husband still loves me. I guess it's fine." But authentically, their aligned, authentic self is saying, "No, you can be healthy and energetic again." And then the brain fog happens, and the mood swings, and the craziness, and the bloating, and all the other things, and you realize something is not aligned. And HRTs don't work. HRTs will work for a little bit if your doctor gets it right, but it's usually an experimental process where they keep changing dosages, medication, and yes, if they get it right, you will feel better in some ways. But you will not lose the weight, and when you build a resistance to it, you'll need to change your medication. And so I'm really glad that that was not something you stayed on. And if, by the way, I help a lot of women who are on HRT, so I'm not judging it. It's all you know. It's what all the doctors can prescribe. And something else you said that I really want to touch on is your program is different than Nancy's, Rowena's, Zelda's, Deb's, and Hope's. It's different. Everyone's different because we always start. Two big rules I learned, because you know me, I can just like I want to give it all at once and just overload. It's like so much stuff.
I
One
know.
action at a time. Yeah, I know. And it's like I'm so excited because I know what's coming next and I want to, but no, one action at a time, just one thing. And then we always start with where she's already at. I'm only working with women now, like very few men. I'm only advertising. I'm just focusing on this. I can thank my mom for that. Story for a different time. But I am determined to help women get through this without going on more drugs, medications, or having a heart attack. My
Yeah.
mom. So when we start with what their insulin set point already is, meaning where you authentically get hungry when insulin starts going down, and we build from there, your body naturally will respond and you aren't hungry. No one is hungry in the program. We do have to battle with seeking the dopamine hit from food, though. That is a constant battle. And you are doing a very good job aligning with your authentic self because you know who you're about, you know who you are, you know what your values are, and you keep returning to that. You've said it several times. You keep returning to your thought process.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And you're in Tevin, him and I've always seen this the whole way, but now when I learned about the hypothalamus connected to the hormones, the thinking matters way more than I ever realized. The mindset matters with your hormones. And people get mixed up. Hormones aren't calories. Hormones, like, hey, if my blood sugar is this, well, shouldn't my insulin level be that? Well, blood sugar is a chemical that you can measure just like how much gas you have in your vehicle. Hormones are not. Hormones are not a measurable thing that's static that you can get a gauge on. They're always changing and they always work together. So when insulin's going up, estrogen will always go down. So even though you're in menopause, your body still makes estrogen through your adrenal glands and your fat tissue. So you still have it coming in. It's getting smaller, but it's not the same. Now, when cortisol goes up, progesterone goes down. Cortisol and estrogen Our cortisol and insulin can bully all the other hormones down that you need. But there's a hormone that you've been activating. First of all, when you did the 48, don't be intimidated by Denise's 48-hour fast. Don't. She didn't know she was going to get to it. She just did. Some people don't. Some people, for a long time, I never made it past 36. I purposely did a 48-hour fast, because it does a dopamine reset. If I start feeling really down or really stressed or mentally feel like I need an antidepressant or something to lift me up, a 48-hour fast where you shift at exactly 48 hours resets your dopamine receptors. It's amazing. When you do this shift, matters. 36 hours, best for fat burning. So when you shift matters, but what you think about food and eating and yourself throughout the day matters also. And you're doing a great job of doing that.
Thank you.
What would you say to a woman who hears, and there's more than fasting. I mean, there's the belly microbiome that's adjusting it so it works. And it's definitely not intermittent fasting. It's completely different than that, because your time eating protocol will change each month. What would you say to the woman who is so scared to postpone food in order to balance hormones? Because that's what it is. Postponing food to get your hormones, to heal your hormones.
So I think for anyone like myself, when we first heard it, right? First, everyone goes to when they ask me what I'm doing, because they're like, "Man, you look great." Like a lot of people have asked me, "What are you doing?" So when I share with them, they think, "Oh, intermittent fasting." So that is what's known with it, right? It's almost associated. Everyone's like, "Oh," I said, "Well, it is, but it isn't." I said, "It's kind of that, but different." So I'm like, "There's different days that you have a shorter window, longer." So I
You
just
have
try to.
full permission to say, no, it's not intermittent fasting.
So, but people's brains, right? To like, so and then what I would say is take it at a week at a time, because if you look at it overall, it's going to seem too much. So I would, and you've shared my pictures. So they're as real as they can be. I was in box. I mean, both of them are in, you can't hide nothing.
You're one of the bravest
Uh,
women I know. I love it. Thank you.
so in 90 days, that's the results that I've gone, and I haven't done it perfect, as well as that's only 90 days. So think about, wherever 90 more days will go. But I've hit that 90 days and lost 26 pounds where I couldn't lose a pound. Because, I mean, even though I want to reset the hormones, what initially is driving me is, yes, that's probably crazy. So I'm thinking it backwards. I need to get back in shape. The hormones for me are a plus, because now I cannot be crazy, just regular crazy instead of extra, and be in shape. So those two things aligned, I'd say, is what's going to be the benefit, right? So I feel better about myself. I'm sleeping better. Um, I I'm just have more energy. So those are the things I'd say. But if someone looks at it as a whole, I'd say just take it a week at a time, because it will get easier, because it becomes a lifestyle, right? In a sense, and then the results keep making you want to go, if that makes sense. Like how I feel makes me want to continue to do it because it's working. And something I really like that we did when we did start talking about all this, there's not all kinds of supplements or anything. I'm just eating clean. I think I take the BCAAs for workouts, because I will say that too, right? If you're not in a workout program, that probably really helps with the results. That weight training, that part I already had, but all I added was the BCAAs. So I take my vitamins and stuff at night. I take them at night after I've eaten, because I don't want to take them on a fasted stomach. So it just works for me. But the BCAAs is all. So it wasn't like, okay, you're going to take, because I've tried everything in the book, even before I met you. I've done diet doctors, diet pills, phetamine, you name it. I've done it. So that was something on this that I like, is it's just real stuff. And it's just the time that you're going to put it into your mouth. Um, so I would say, if that answers the question, take it a week at a time. Trust in you enough to just say, this is what you're going to do this week. Oh, and then they're going to see, even in that first week, some change. Just even right in that first week, a little bit of change. And then the next week, and then the next. So that's kind of where I'm at with it now.
I Yeah, I feel like you described it super well. And here's the thing: is like I've learned not to even say the word fasting in my messaging because right away they associate it with hard, impossible. I've tried this already; it didn't work. It's not at all fasting in the typical sense. It is basically teaching, reminding your body through the HPA axis how to heal itself again because it wants to rebalance, but you have to give it space without giving it all that insulin. Every time you eat, insulin goes up. There's only two types of nutrients that don't raise insulin. But if insulin's always loading up, your other hormones cannot balance. If cortisol is always raising up because of the inflammation, your hormones won't balance. But you described it really, really well. One action at a time, 1 week at a time, because what we've realized, and science verifies it completely now, there's a lot of controversy about postponing food, so many. But one that was recently made crystal clear, no longer a controversy, the science backs it up unequivocally, is that even if you're 90 years old, very postmenopause, you still have a hormonal cycle. And the way you postpone food during the 4 phases of that hormonal cycle will heal your hormones faster. And now that we've been able to work that in and actually align it with a woman's cycle, it makes it so one, it works better, it's more comfortable, more energy, and fasting's way, way easier. Putting the food off is way easier.
Yeah.
So there's a hormone that you are benefiting from because of the longer fast that is actually making up for the loss of estrogen and progesterone. Do you know what hormone that is?
Mm-mm.
Human growth hormone. Every time you go longer than 36 hours, and it varies from person to person, but 36 is pretty consistent. Some people go sooner. Your body has to produce growth hormone to burn the fat into energy. And then the longer you go after 36 hours, the more growth hormone it produces. So you will have more HGH, that same synthetic drug that people will buy, pay thousands of dollars for it to inject to feel and look younger. You'll have more HGH naturally for 3 to 4 days after your GH fast. That's what the GH fast advantage is. We're tapping into human growth hormone naturally to heal our bodies and to burn fat faster than anything else on the planet. Nothing burns fat faster than HGH. And you will, like, if you were to go get a full on panel screen of your hormones, which is expensive but possible,
Yeah,
right
I've done
after,
before.
if you after GH fast, you will see your doctor will say, "Hey, what's going on with your growth hormone?" Because your body has to create it. It will do it naturally in order to turn the fat into energy. And when it does it, it keeps doing it and it stays in your bloodstream 4 or 5 days. It's amazing. That's why I do it. I do it for the growth hormone, 100%. I do it for the mood change, 100%. Like for me, going to 48 hours was hard. I didn't want to. We want to do it.
Yeah,
36 we'll do
it's
because
a challenge.
I'm having a tough time like in my personal life, like just transitioning to living by myself and the new business structure and just a lot. So I use food still as a planned dopamine hit, and I'm aware of it. I know I do it. I do it. I don't. I don't do it to the point where I regret it, but I know I'm doing it, and I still do. So going 48 hours, man, that was like 2 nights without the comfort scoops of ice cream. 2 nights without and I
Yeah.
know the feeling of wanting the dopamine and how well it works. Um, I would also say that you have a way of describing what needs to happen up top. You're understanding some really complicated neurobiology and neuroscience that has to occur for this to work. And I think one I heard you say is first you reframe it. You're postponing food in order to heal hormones. Second, I mean, how would you like if you were coaching me or you were coaching Belinda, she's sick and tired of it. She just cannot go any longer. She's willing to do whatever, but she's so scared. If you were coaching her, what to think, how to think, what would you say?
I think I would just go back to like it's okay to be scared. That's just a human thing, right? It's okay. But then you got to have an internal dialogue with yourself. It's scared of what? If you've tried everything and nothing's working, what's the worst that can happen? So I had to tell myself, like, there's really nothing to be scared of. Is just take a leap of faith, I guess, and that's got to be it, right? You have to take a leap of faith to say, hey, people are getting results. You've taken time to learn all the sciencey part that really my brain doesn't want to know all of that, right? But I need the bullet points, like I said, but I would say, what do you have to lose when fear sets in? What is the fear from, right? Thinking you're going to fail and you can't do it. If that's the case, just take it small. Just try. Today, tomorrow will be the better day. Like push it each day a little bit. So it doesn't have to be, and it can be on everybody's own timeline. Like I'm not in a rush, but I'm amazed that in 90 days that much has come off. So you got to ask yourself, you have to sit and have an internal dialogue of what are you scared of? And it's doable. Like we are able to do this. You're not putting any crazy supplements into your body. You're not doing anything that's crazy. Stay hydrated, definitely. Stay busy because again, mindset, right? If you're busy doing stuff, you're not really thinking about. The hard times for me is sitting down, watching TV when you know you can make popcorn, whatever, mindless eating, right? So stay busy. And then always me, like I'm a planner, so I have to know stuff. I need to know what days I'm working out, what I'm eating that week. I meal prep a little different if I'm working from home. I can just put it in big containers and then throw it in a bowl when it's time to eat. Um, but don't be scared. Just say, "Hey, I'm gonna conquer this because I'm gonna give it a try and be prepared." I went out and got every flavored seltzer water and like what's this zero, the dragon fruit. So on top of just water, like have things that will prepare me for success. So when you said black coffee, I put cinnamon and nutmeg in there now and a little bit of stevia. So it's not straight black coffee. Um,
Damn.
so that had to change, right? Because so don't go from 0 to 100. Set yourself up. I got every flavor of seltzers, put it in a cute glass, squeeze some lemon in it so you feel like you're having something. Um, and then my lifesaver, and I don't do them often, but I already liked Diet Dr. Pepper. And then they have like the cherry and the vanilla, I don't know, cream soda. That shit tastes like dessert. So every so often, I'm like, okay, if I want to sit down and watch a movie, I pour it over
Keep
ice.
talking. I'm gonna hear you. I'm gonna go get a prop real fast. Keep talking.
Uh, I pour it over ice with a fancy glass and straw, and it really just, I don't know, it does what it needs to do. So I think that's the biggest thing I would tell anyone is, hey, just prepare, keep it simple, and take it a day at a time.
I love it. I'm gonna repurpose this and share it because number one, you said something. I have done the research, I've done the science. So every single thing I will have you do, if you had a real big doubting Thomas, like I would be, I have the data, the clinical research to send you. So first of all, if you're scared about going 18 hours without eating or 20 hours or whatever you're going about to do, like no one ever goes that long unless they want to and they decide to. I never say you must go 36. No, they do it because they know. I just show them what the benefits are. I show them the science of what will happen with their hormones, and they just do it because it's not hard. So I have science research to actually share if people need that to show. But here's a quick summation. If you have at least 15 pounds of fat, you can survive 30 days with enough fluids. Not only will you survive and not die, you will not do any damage to your organs, and you will not lose muscle mass as long as you move your muscles. After 30 days, the research is mixed, but you can go 30 days. And what happens is your hormones quit telling you you're hungry. Your brain science quit telling you you're hungry. The only time is if you think about being hungry, you can convince yourself you are. And it's really easy to do. It's a very mental transition because everything out there, the food industry wants to make money. Like they invented lunch to make money. There was never lunch before. There was never lunch lunch meat and all these lunch things we have. They invented it all. It's because they needed, the food industry needed a new way to sell besides breakfast and dinner. Like, we eat way more than we need, and it feels good, so we keep doing it. Now, you brought up a controversy. Oh man, the Diet Dr. Pepper, the diet sodas, like, there's huge controversy. It breaks the fast. I love the A&W zero sugar. I love the zero sugar Dr. Pepper, and I love my black coffee. I love my water. What you just said, having and I love my drink with BCAAs in it and a little bit of alanine and a little bit of creatine. Believe it or not, that's my focus drink. So I know what works and what doesn't work, and I've done the research, and there's controversies, and I will always be able to clear those up. Yes, you can have 0-calorie soda. Is it as good as water? No. Is it as good as black coffee? No. Black coffee actually helps from the polyphenols. It helps the process, because here's the magic. If you wanted to quote to someone, and I just can't help myself to get nerdy again. When insulin goes down low enough, glucagon comes out. Now, you've heard of Wegovy and semaglutide and all these different injections, right? There's these injections now that help people lose weight.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Those are all GF1 injections. And what GF1 is glucagon-like factor. So it's an artificial stimulus which makes your body think it has additional glucagon. And it makes it feel full. It makes it feel not hungry. It actually releases more insulin. And it works because people aren't hungry. They don't eat as much. But it's not really working. Now, when you do it naturally the way you're doing, you don't eat. You work out. That produces gluconeogenesis. So you have glucose in your system to support your moving around. Your brain starts running on ketones. Not only do you not feel crazy, you actually feel a little more tuned in, because ketones work well in the brain. Okay, that's great. And then the glucose runs out, before you shift, and then your body has to start burning the fat. And that's when the glucagon comes out. Glucagon is awesome. It burns fat and turns it into glucose. It's the simplest way I can say it. And that happens when you start doing your first shift. After about, depending on how many times you've shifted, 3 to 8 hours, glucagon wears out. And that's where growth hormone comes out. And it starts turning the fat into energy. And that's the amazing, amazing process, that we can actually bring out growth hormone and use it to burn fat and feel great, and also run on ketones for a period of time and completely heal our hormones in the process. So I hope that science wasn't too nerdy. And I hope that, because you're an ambassador. You will sell this better than I ever will. Like, yeah. I know how it works so well. I'm just blown away when people don't hop all over and do it.
Yeah. I think when it's the person doing it, like us, right? The person that is going through it, it probably is more understandable. Like, you're the coach, right? You know all that, but sometimes a woman might think, yeah, but he doesn't know, or he doesn't understand. So I think the helpful part is for when more women are doing it, seeing the results, sharing their stories, it makes it more believable. And then here's the other thing is, I haven't done it perfect. So on top of it, when you ask about someone being scared, give yourself some grace that if you have a cheat day and you F up, oh, well, just get back on the horse. It's not like the end of the world. It doesn't undo everything you've done. So sometimes it's like somebody might have fear to start something because they're going to be so hard on themselves. That I'm at a point in life, I care about I don't want to be overweight, but I have 3 grandbabies. I need lots of energy. I care about my health. I care to be here for them. I care to have energy and to live a long life, hopefully, because there's enough shit going on in this world. So sometimes I'm like, the fear might be someone comes in and thinks like, if I messed up and I didn't do the fast right that day, I'm a failure. That internal dialogue.
Uh-huh.
I turn it around and tell myself I'm a badass for even trying it, right? So that is something I think more women, more people have to give themselves I share this with Rowena when I talk crap with her all the time, is like, give yourself like grace that we're not going to be perfect. Nobody's supposed to be perfect. It's the same thing I learned in recovery, right? But if I do the best I can do today with all efforts, then I'm going to feel good naturally and want to do better and continue to do better. Instead of, if I say, oh shit, I screwed up, so I might as well just all week F it. That's what I've had to learn to tell myself, that it's just so that window is shorter of like, okay, I don't feel guilty. I just went to Tahoe for the weekend. I ate a few things that aren't probably on the meal plan, but I also didn't go to the opposite. It wasn't like crazy either. So it was a balance in the middle. So sometimes people have to just find balance, because if the end goal is health and getting all this right, we're on a long journey. So that's kind of how I look at it too.
Again, you have articulated it in a great way that I feel many women can relate to. And there's a couple things I really want to touch on. And one is, you described a very common cognitive distortion. This is vernacular in psychology and cognitive behavior therapy. Cognitive distortions are what our mind does with certain information, and it makes us feel a certain way again and again. And one is all or nothing thinking. Either I'm all the way good or I'm all the way bad. Either I'm doing it perfectly or I might as well not do it at all. It's this all or nothing thinking that completely never will exist in hormones. Even the top experts in hormones do not know exactly what's going on. They have a basic idea, but sometimes different hormones will do different things. There's no absolute yes, you're doing it perfect, or absolute not. And I'm 100% aware that you have not done it perfect, and you were a slow start in some areas, and sometimes you did it your own way until you started seeing it. But the way I coach every woman is to show her the benefit she's going towards and what she is accomplishing and why, and let her go on her own towards it without me pushing her, telling her she must or else. And when she doesn't, next day, try to go a little longer, because I know how well it works. And I know that if she just does the next day, like you said, a little bit better, she's going to make progress. And then when she sees that, she's like, oh. And then when she starts feeling good, she's like, oh, everything starts changing. So it's a mix of, this is how I do it, and it's not perfect, with
Yeah.
the certainty I have in the science and the way that we can adjust it for each person, that really will get this word out. Because there's nothing better for weight loss in the world than balancing your hormones. And more practitioners will do it within 10 years. But right now, a relatively small people are even going into this territory.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy that I trusted you and trust the process, and I plan on keep going. So we'll even uh, do another video or some more. Like, I'll keep taking pictures along the way.
Yeah, let's check in again in like another 30 or 90 days. I love talking to you. I forgot how much I love talking to you. There's some questions. If you have 5 or 6 more minutes, I'll ask the questions that people have.
Yeah,
And
I
I
have
can,
about. I got to get off here 1:30 ish.
okay.
Yeah, it's because we have to go to.
We'll definitely wrap it up by that. No problem there. Gosh, there was something else you said that really resonated with me too. I'll go to the questions first, and then that will likely come to me. All right. I'm going to start my 4-day fast Sunday. By the way, in the ticker, I'm going to put a link, everybody, so I can see who you are. Only Deb has done it. All you have to do is click the link that I'm showing right here. You might not be able to click it, but click the link or copy it and paste it, and I'll know who you are. Because right now, all I can see is streamer user. It's much different than what we've used in the past. I'd love to talk to the person. All right. That was me. I had to put a stop to it. Oh man, there's so many. Badass. Love you, Denise. I was having myself when I effed up. Now I'm over it. Yes. Find a Deb. Okay. Does drinking drinks that are sweet make you hungry? Deb, by the way, is our stem cell faster, and she has had a metamorphosis that's just fun to see. I mean, you can see muscle tone in her tricep now, and I know she's over 50, over 60. I mean, she's right around 60. I mean, but she looks amazing, and she takes it to a whole nother level with her stem cell release. But she asks, So Deb, big props to you for your mental mindset too, and your inquisitive mind. She's like the opposite. She wants to know why it works and how it works and specifics. And she gets them. Does drinking drinks that are sweet make you more hungry? That is a very convoluted answer and question. It varies from person to person. If you decide it's not going to make you hungry, it will not. There is not a physiological stomach response that makes you want to eat more. There are, the dopamine goes, and then as soon as the dopamine starts going, you think, this was good. I want more good. And then you will start thinking, I'm hungry. So technically, absolutely not. However, depending on where your mind's at, it will. Like I can say for me, it does not make me hungry because I know what it's doing. I bet for Denise, it does not make you hungry because it's calling out more dopamine, more dopamine. Now, also, I've done the studies and there's a lot on this. This will not hurt you. It will not hurt your body. It will not hurt your metabolism. You will read lots of stuff that says it will. I've read them too. I worked with one, Dr. Trevor Cashy, one of the top chemical biologists in the world. I won't even talk about how great he is because it would take forever. But he has done a lot of research and worked with a lot of athletes. He has verified with his studies and clinical tests there is no physiological harm to a human for doing that. It does not slow down your metabolism. It does not make you spike insulin. It is absolutely okay to have it if you want it. And that's hard to say out loud because other people would argue with me completely. But I will give it to you as clear as I know, and I will stand by it until something clinical research proves me wrong. Oh, yeah. Can I put the link in there? Let me see if I can. I was having, okay, if you have any more questions, if you type them in now, that way I'm not scrolling upward. That was a good one. I used to love all the zero sodas. Monk fruit works. Internal dialogue, love it. Client Facebook user, right on Leilani. Leilani, glad to have you on here. Yeah, we want to get you guys all on the name so I can see them. Because right now it just says Facebook user and just has a Facebook profile by you, except for Deb's. Deb clicked it. All right. What I heard and what I've learned is the taking it one action at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 day at a time is key for someone to get started.
Yes. Don't, because it's a complete shift in thinking from what we were always told. So before it's eat small meals, eat all day, blah, 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 small, all that, right? So in asking to reverse engineer that is a biggie for a lot of people that are already thinking it a different way. So I think from you and I, and we know each other enough, like you said, you know it, so you want us to all have it, and I appreciate that. But I also know if it's too much at me, I'd be like, oh hell no, this is like too much shit. I can't do all this. That's how my brain. Not everyone. You said you have someone that likes to know all that.
One
Me, I
person
just
only. Only one person.
Me, I think if you break it down, and it's not saying don't give it kind of a little cliff note of how the program's going to be, but just saying I'm going to take it a week at a time because I feel like I applied the same principles that I learned in recovery to this program, and which is I just have control of today and now and my mindset. Those are the things that I can control no matter, I can do that. So if I take that principle and apply it to, okay, today Tom asked me for these next couple days, see how long until I'm physically think I'm hungry. How long can I wait till I put any calories into my body? Okay, I can do that because I knew I'm still eating at some point in that day. Then when you say, okay, if you're going to do a detox, okay, I can do that. So it's little chunks helped me to be like, okay, now I can look at what a month is kind of going to be. So I can prepare the fasting week, the not, the another one, whatever. And as well, I can prepare for what I'm going to do family wise or vacation wise, or I'm going camping next weekend. I can kind of align things with what I'm doing in my life too. So,
Okay. Two big things came up. Number one, when you align hormones, it's way different than being on a diet and counting calories. You have so much more freedom and flexibility. You can eat things whatever you want. I have one client that ate whatever she wanted the first 30 days because she didn't understand the macros and didn't see them and couldn't work out because she had an injury. She lost weight because the hormones matter most. And when you align the hormones, you will have more food freedom and flexibility than ever before, especially when your insulin baseline goes down. When your baseline insulin goes down, it gives you so much more freedom. That's number one. And number two, you just gave the catch name when anyone asks you what this program is, because you've alluded to how your journey in recovery, and I know that journey too. I know it well, and I agree with you. Your journey in recovery is so similar to this, and how you use the same tools and the mindset things as this. This is hormone recovery. This is what we're doing. Because it wasn't just menopause that messed up a lot of women's hormones. It was being overweight for all those years before menopause. It was weight fluctuating, trying all these different diets, losing it, gaining it back. That messed up their hormones. It's different. Childbirth does not mess up your hormones. Age does not mess up your hormones. It changes them momentarily, but they'll balance back. It is hormone recovery, Denise. That's what you're doing. You're doing hormone recovery.
Like it. That's your new catchphrase.
That you gave it. So
I like that.
hormone recovery, compliments of
That
Denise.
like people can understand that, right? Or you can, because it's true. So everybody on here, if anyone is not doing it, I definitely recommend do not be scared. Take the first step. You will not be sorry. Like, I'm no special spokesperson. I keep it as real can be. And this worked. And share after. I don't know how you can if anyone hasn't seen like the pictures that we shared. Like, and something else I was thought about before we leave is not only is it working, I'm not that skinny flabby ness, right? So you know how sometimes they're like, oh, if you're
Skinny
not eating and losing my muscle, and I weren't worried about that, but I'm getting tone. Like Tevin's like, oh, I'm starting to see this like, and I'm gonna be 55 in 2 weeks, so I'm getting in more toned than 10 years ago. So that's pretty crazy too.
I Another thing you kept bringing up, don't be scared. And I have a saying, it's like turn your fear into curiosity. Be curious how it's going to feel. Don't anticipate it. Don't try to guess that it's going to suck so bad, but get really curious instead. Replace fear with curiosity and let that curiosity turn into courage. And that's just simply the courage to change. So you said that, and that was the thing I wanted to we're going to put our sayings together. Don't be scared, and turn that fear, that's an emotion, into curiosity. I wonder what would happen. I wonder how it'll feel. And when you do that, it makes all the difference in the world. All right. I really want to put up your picture, and I'm trying to figure out how I can do that. I'm not positive.
I'm happy, Tom, for you. You know, if you have women that are just starting or have questions, you know, I'll help you. So if somebody wanted to ever talk offline or just anything, I'm happy to help however I can.
Thank you very much. And because I have spent so much time learning this and figuring out a way to implement it, such as the just eat, don't eat till you're hungry. Let me know what that number is, and we'll go from there. And making it, in frameworks that people can do that. I haven't done as good a job as I did in the past of getting the word out. This is an awesome thing. I mean, our success rate on this is higher than anything ever at the gym. It's if I told you, you think I was lying. The success rate we have, it is so high. But people just have to start.
Yeah.
I cannot thank you enough, Denise. I cannot thank you enough for sharing your experience and being so brave and courageous about it. It was great to chat with you like this again.
Well, right back at you.
Anything you would say to? I mean, you've already said so much. It's awesome. Anything else that you would your last? Oh, I know. I'm going to ask. What does good growing better? One of our core values as a company, the 5Gs, good growing better. What does that mean to you in your life right now?
Well, I think I shared with you, for me, good to better is mindset over everything else, right? So for me, it's my mindset and my energy and how I feel, because I was blessed with the home that we purchased. My son, daughter in law, and three grandkids live in the back house. And my brother lives down the street. I'm very close with him and my nieces. So good for me, because before this, I was like, I don't want to go to do stuff. Like I wasn't feeling happy, and that sucked. So good to better is just continue feeling better, I guess. So good right now is I feel good. I can put clothes on and I don't feel uncomfortable. I don't look in the mirror and get unhappy with myself. Not perfect, because I'm crazy. So I'm still a woman. I'm going to want to suck and tuck and do everything, because that's just my craziness. That's just, I've embraced that. But better is being in a state of mind where I'm at peace with knowing I'm doing what's best for my body and what's best for my mindset. So, quality of life, because it can be gone tomorrow, is just being in a happy state. If that makes like, that's what I strive for. That is what I
Yeah,
care about.
I love it. In fact, lots of thank yous are coming. Lots of thank yous. Thank you, Denise. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, a lot of people have their names on now. Good job, everyone. I'm going to just give you a big old virtual hug. I'm going to see you soon when I travel to your neck of the woods. I
Yeah,
can't wait to give you a real hug. Super proud of you. Thanks for looking good and sharing your good to growing better story, because you've inspired someone today, and neither one of us know who she is, but she got inspired by your story. So
I
thank
hope
you.
so. I hope so. Everybody have a great weekend. And Tom, like I said, if you have members or current or anyone, Rowena and you guys know how to get a hold of me.
I'm gonna send you a link to send them to. They can just
A
schedule.
link. You and your links. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
that's funny. It's the new era, Denise.
I know. I try. I'm like, oh, links, links.
Well, congratulations too. This was my first ever streaming with a guest, and I was nervous and reluctant, and that's why you got 94 links. Now we want to make sure I got it right. So thank you for your patience with all the links. I
I'm
get.
just glad I got on the link. How about that?
Well, Rowena advised me. She said send her one link, so that's all she has to click. And I said, okay, what is that link? And I figured it out, and it worked out great. So,
Well,
uh,
have a good weekend.
all right, everyone.
All
Coach
right.
Tom, most grateful man on the planet. Denise, super grateful for you. Your authenticity is inspiring for me. I think I speak for everyone. So I agree with Denise. Let's have a great weekend. Stay healthy, stay authentic, and just share your light as much as you can.
Bye.
Bye, Denise.
Bye.